Okay, I'll be doing this with Sister Lami, like I said. She will be taking questions from Slido. We'll be doing, we'll go one-on-one. I take one, she takes one. All right, that's how we would run. And if you have any question, please send the paper to me through the ushers. Ushers are around you. You see them, they'll give you a piece of paper and you're able to write, and then we get this going. Okay, so we get going. And already we know that Reverend will be the first to answer that question. It is question 14 on my list, but I'll still ask nonetheless. I'll ask, how can someone that is not a Lagosian, and I know there are many of them that are not Lagosian, we Lagosians, we know we can plug into that. We Lagosians, right? How can someone who is not a Lagosian benefit from the LSDPC schemes or the real estate properties that you have? How can this work? Because there's a lot of myth around it that is for only those who know people there. Please help us.
First, my answer first would be, who is a Lagosian? That's the first. Who is a Lagosian? I just realized that Sheung here is a distant cousin. We just connected.
Wow.
I have a house already.
So, really, we're all Lagosian.
And I think they look alike somehow. I think they look alike somehow.
I said, where are you from? My son name, I knew. By the time he told me, I just laughed. So, and I said, so, and we connected. Yeah, my go. I said, it's small word. So, really, we're all Lagosians. And I believe it's a myth or a belief that is wrong that we've cultivated over time. I told you how I got into government. And the first thing I did, in actual fact, when I got there, and really, I believe that because of what prevailed then. Because then, really, if you walk into LSBC, you don't know anybody, you'll probably not get an allocation. But when I got in there, first thing I did was to digitalize the process. And so what I did basically was that all the development that was done in fact, the ones I had done before I came, I just made sure they first digitalized all of them. I did what is called a serious audit of those projects, recovered all the assets that were hanging, and sold them off. Of course, that was looking for trouble because I stepped on a lot of toes. Who is this small boy they brought from private sector coming to query us here? Then, all development afterwards were advertised on the pages of newspapers. What that did was that anybody could pick the phone, and then people in 2000, people will call me and say, "Are you Adeola?" I say, "Yes." "Are you sure I can get this property?" I say, "Why not? Just indicate your interest." In fact, and then I put the allocation list. There was a table in my office and online. I said, "Pick where you want. Make your payment and make your choice. And in 2 weeks, you get your allocation."
Wow.
And it happened. And so from that, I transformed the process of allocation from being man, no man, who do you know, to everybody, anybody, and it became online. Until tomorrow, I say, you walk into LSDP today, and you see a property you like, you buy the application form, which is 25,000, you indicate, and you make your payment, you get an allocation. There's nothing, you don't need to know anybody. That's the truth.
Wow, did you hear that? Did you hear that? It is that simple. It is that easy. Very easy, very easy. I'll take one before Salami takes this because this is quite interesting. And I'll be asking Mr. Ojo to deal with this one. If he's here, Mr. Gwadiwo Ojo will deal with this one for us, being Hegai Mortgage. Someone says, "I'm interested in acquiring a land. I'm buying a property." We all are. Are you not interested in? We're all interested. He said, "But I don't have the big money that Pastor Sheo and Dr. Freeman, that the big money they are calling, I don't have." All right? But it makes me look like someone that is hopeless. I came for this program to see if there is hope for people like me. How can I access the opportunity? Is that you? All right, Mr. Ojo, what do you have to say?
Thank you very much. Let me start by saying this. Recently, I listened to, a music online. And I'm sure one or two of us would have heard that song also. Some youths gathered and they said, "God, please, 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 I know that I have money in the future. Borrow me 100 million naira so that I can use it now. I will return it." And I'm just here to just say that God has answered that prayer for anyone that is here. Because that was why Haggai Mortgage Bank has been established. It's strictly for that purpose. You know, about 30 years ago, God spoke to a man that we may likely all know, and his name is Pastor E. Adeboye, and gave him a vision and said, I want to transform, excuse me, I want to transform the life of Christians. I want to take them out from that slogan that they call church rats to making them wealthy. I want to build wealth, and I want to push it to Christians. And so he gave the vision to him. But then Pastor E. Adeboye said something. He said, I'm a preacher of the word of God. I don't know anything about finance. So he called his children that knows about finance, and he handed over the vision to them. And then the vision started as an investment organization. That was Haggai Investment. And then it transformed to Haggai Community Bank. And from that, it moved to Haggai Microfinance Bank. And then also to Haggai Savings and Loans Limited. And today, Haggai is now known as Haggai Mortgage Bank. And that is, you know, an international and also a national mortgage bank. I want to say this. If you need fund to get your property, Haggai will make it available for you. What you are doing is you are taking 20 years from now, you are bringing it close to your present state. That means the house you're supposed to have in 20 years' time, Haggai will make it available to you now. And how is that going to be done? It's so easy. Number one is to have a relationship with a mortgage bank like Haggai Mortgage Bank. Have a relationship. I've seen a lot of people, they just wake up, they give a call to Haggai Bank, and then they say, Haggai, can you fund my house? I want to buy a property. I asked the person, when exactly did you start nursing this? And they said, I just woke up and I feel it's time I have a house. I said, no, you need to plan. Just the same way you plan your wedding, the same way you plan your marriage, the same way you need to plan. So give yourself time. What type of building do you want? Where do you want it to be? What location? All those things, when you get them, you approach Haggai Mortgage Bank. We will profile you. Look at what you have as capacity to take. Yours might be that you might not be able to take that 100 from the future. Yours is that you have the capacity to take 20 million naira from your future. We will give it to you now. If your own capacity is to borrow 20 million naira or 5 million naira from your future, we'll make it available to you now. And if your capacity can take 500 million naira from your future, we will bring it close to you now and make it available to you. So all you just need to do, have a relationship with a mortgage bank like Haggai, and then begin to put something inside your account, which we call target savings. That means this property you want to buy in Lekki is going for 100 million naira. How much will you set aside from your own savings? Because when you get to a man and you say, I need 100 million naira, you must be able to tell the man, this is how much I have. So when we are saying you want a property, how much do you have? We will look at that. We will look at your future. Then we will help you to bring it close. As simple as that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I mean, you know, when you were talking, some people were wondering, how much can I borrow for my future? They, they are calculating. Is there anything from the future, Lord? I tell you, there's a lot you can borrow from the future. Thank you so much. Salami, over to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ojo. And I think this answers, what you just said now answered two questions here. For those who wrote these questions, it says, how can someone who earns 300,000 naira as income invest in property? So I think from your response, I guess that person should take a cue from that. And then somebody else also wrote here, how can a newly deployed NYSC copper with minimum wage of 70,000 naira be able to purchase or invest in this landed property that costs millions of naira? So I think from your response to, except you still have some other things you want to add, yes, if you can.
Okay, thank you. From various presentations we've gotten today, we already have answers to that. Now, your 70,000 naira may not be able to get that property that is going for 50 million naira. But that your 70,000 naira can surely still get you a property. And I'm sure you're still going to learn more about that. I realized something when I was in school. My parents were giving me stipend of 5,000 naira. That 5,000 naira truly was not enough for me. And I realized that I had to spend all, and at the same time, I would still send message to them to get more. But I realized something, that by the time I was finishing school, few of my mates, with the little they were getting from home, they were able to get a plot of land in Akwete, in Ibadan. And by the time we were finishing, they were already landowners. Today, I don't know how much that property would be, but then it will only help them to achieve and take them closer to the real goal that they have. Some years back, I looked at the document of property that my father bought some time ago, and I looked at the receipt. It was 16,000 something. A property that was purchased from LSDPC. Now, that property is over 10 million naira. And as at that time, I'm sure someone had that 16,000 naira also, and would be saying, my 16,000 naira cannot buy a property in Lekki. But if it can't buy a property in Lekki, it can buy one along, Badagry Expressway. And then you'll be able to just move one step after the other. Thank you.
Thank you very much. For more information, I'm sure after this you can always get to see them, because you talked about also having like a saving plan. Haggai has that. So, for people like this, you can also put them through on that. Okay, so the next question we have here, he says...
Hold on, Salam. I think I wants to, but she
okay.
wants just in a minute.
So I want to speak to that. For example, at Frontline Homes, we have a product, right, called Save to Buy. So it's a form of contribution, like a daily contribution, 4K per day, 2 years, you pay for your land, you have your land.
Wow, fantastic. So please, just lash on that opportunity there at the back there. Haggai is there. Frontline Homes, they're there as well. Immediately after, don't rush for rice, I beg. Don't rush for rice. Rush to settle for your 4,000. All right, Salam, over to you.
Information is powerful. I guess, when people have all this information, they know how to go about it. Okay, so the next question we have here, it says, how do we reconcile predictions about parts of Lagos, in bracket, Lagos Island, becoming submerged by water as a result of climate change with investing in real estate in Lagos? So we know that there are some areas...
Rev can take that.
Yes. Over to you, Rev.
Okay, well, I'm used to this when I go for seminars and it's generally known that Lekki is said that Lekki is below the sea level, but Lekki is the fastest growing axis in fact in the world, not only in Nigeria. Why? Whether you like it or not, the government understands it, and I always say to people that, and there are measures that are being taken. I was in Amsterdam some time back, and Amsterdam has water. It's below the sea level, and it's all over is water and all that. And I remember that there was a particular state, I think it was Bayelsa. When Bayelsa State was created, a particular company said to the governor then that, look, we will do exactly what we did for Amsterdam for Bayelsa. But trust our people, they did not listen. So for me, that is not, it was Dr. Oshoso, yes, Freeman that said, remove the fare. We are talking about this below the sea level. People are investing there massively. That's where the refinery is, a massive investment. And people are making so much. Don't have that fear. Because with that fear, you will not do anything. I believe that, look, we need to begin to do regeneration, which is the way That's the next thing. If I left to me, my hands have been tied. It's something I would have been doing for the past 8 years. The master plan I have for regeneration in Lagos, all the Surulares by now, I would have redeveloped it. Because all those bungalows we have core infrastructure. The whole of Ikorodu Road is these are core infrastructure that we have. And we're still having bungalows. By now, we should be doing a minimum of 8 floors, 10 floors. The whole of Ebutemeta, the whole of Yaba, by now we should have totally regenerated and redeveloped it. So rather than going horizontal, we should be going vertical now. So it's just that for us as a people, we have refused to do the right things. It's not for the lack of vision. The vision is there. We know what to do, but we have a system where, like I said, until we see governance as a business and do the right thing, we will continue to struggle. But I tell you, some of us have that vision. And one thing, when Agai was speaking, and I remember I had a meeting once with Richard Olubameru, your MD, before. And I think I need to reconnect again and sit with Agai. That vision to develop for believers, we should start looking in that direction and begin to put that together.
Fantastic. All right, so this will go to Miss Abigail Arela Holmes. What role do real estate agents like yourselves play in the land acquisition process? And I'm sure Dr. Shonuga will want to do a backup afterwards because it's run agency as well. So what role do real estate agents, I'm sure there are a number of people here who are saying, well, I can start from agency as well. What role do you play in land acquisition process? And you can tell us a bit more about what you do.
Thank you very much. I appreciate this opportunity to be able to speak to people. I really appreciate. Okay, so I'm a land title expert and a real estate consultant. And I started as a dream. Okay, I was at the Lagos State Ministry Lands Bureau. I've been doing title documentation for a while. And then doing that title documentation for people, CFO, governor's consent, and I kind of realized that a lot of people just buy land, and I get a lot of calls from people, I want to do title, and you see this title they want to do, property of like maybe 10 years ago, they've not, have a title for it. So when I thought of it that, okay, I can actually come into this space, sell properties, but I have to make sure that these properties are genuine ones. So as a real estate, a new person that wants to come into the real estate market space, make sure you want to sell property that has title. Because most of my colleagues, some of them are in prison right now because they sell properties that maybe Mr. A has sold to Mr. B, and Mr. B did not perfect anything. They sell to like 7 people, the same land. So a lot of times you have to get yourself educated. It's not just about selling property. You have to do research. You have to do research, know important things to look out for before you go into, marketing. And then somebody asked me, walk up to me and like, Abigail, I thought you would have sold everywhere in Lagos. And I say, I can't sell everywhere in Lagos because not everywhere in Lagos is very good to sell. Yes, sellable. So you want to come into the real estate space, quite all right, but you have to be careful because like Pastor Freeman said, Dr. Freeman said that he said that then everybody you can make money through real estate, but you have to also be careful. You have to also be very, very careful. But yes, you can start it. So let's look at the positive aspect of it. Yes, you can start it. You make sure you have interaction with the real owner of the property. Okay, you ask them questions. Why do you want to sell this place? Why do you want to go into real estate? Why do you want to sell this place out? What title do you have on this place? Okay, if you don't have a title, what are the things to do? Now, as an agent, the things for you to do to probably you want to market somebody's property, make sure you pick coordinates. If I think at halftime I would have, said a lot about that. You pick coordinates, partner with a surveyor that can go to that person's site. They pick coordinates before you even market it. Pick the coordinates of that location, chat it. There's something we call physical chatting and survey chatting. So you chat the survey, the place, to be able to know the status of that property. So when you know the status, you know, okay, this place is not meant to be residential, and this property here is a commercial property. But when you chat it, you see that is a residential property. You know there's a problem there. Then you now go further to knowing if that place can be regularized. So there's a lot of things to learn. And then secondly, you should also check the CFO. That's where we talk about the legal aspect, where you do the search. So you ask if they have a title document. So peradventure the person has a title document. You do the search at Lansbury or Alausa Secretariat. You search it to be sure that this property has a good title. Now, after getting your title search, you check if there's any encumbrances on that property. When I mean encumbrances, I'm trying to say, there are some property that somebody might have sold to somebody else, maybe, or the property that has been mortgaged, like somebody have taken a loan for that property, and they now want to sell it. They want you to take over in the selling of that property. There is an issue. When the person that is buying it, at the end of the day, found out that they've used that property to take a loan. So at the end of the day, they will come, maybe the person you actually sold the property to, come over, and the bank came to meet the person that this place is there's a issue there. So you should kind of be careful when going into that, but it's a very good business. So if you're able to check all these things, is a good place to be.
We will still come to you. Let's celebrate. I will still come to you. She's really hands-on. She's giving us a lot of practical steps. Do we have a mic? The lawyer in the house is trying to corroborate a point. Yes. Winnie Seven, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. So I believe I just wanted to address the question that as a real estate agent,
yes,
what exactly are you doing?
Yes.
Thank you very much, Ms. Abigail. Yes, she's told us a lot about the documentation aspect of it. But as an agent, you are a middleman. You are a facilitator.
Are you prophesying into my life? Because you are pointing at me. Yes.
So
Yes.
you're bringing parties together. And you must understand that in bringing parties together, you must be able to assure them that you are connecting to people that are right in the transaction.
Yeah.
I've been in situations where innocent agents connecting a buyer, a credible buyer, and a fraudulent seller. So it's a very dicey, though, like Pastor Oshibeson said to us, you can, Dr. Freeman too mentioned it, you can start from a zero thing and be earning a lot. But you must understand that as a facilitator, the parties must be verified. And of course, you can even do the work and then they refuse to pay you. So you understand that, not that you're only facilitating, you are coming into the whole transaction as a professional. So that is why it's important, whether you're getting mentors who have gone ahead of you, like I did in real estate, including Pastor Olusode here, and you understand that the dynamics of every transaction differs. So for everyone that wants to come into the sector, I would advise, look for credible mentors, people that have gone ahead of you, that can
like people here, seated here.
Us,
yes, like us.
That can mentor you, that can teach you and help you. Because I know a lot of mistakes I made that I would have done better if I had people ahead. However, a lot of things I did right was because I had people like Pastor Lusodo advising me, talking to me, the likes of Mr. Emmanuel Demayowa, telling me this is how to go about it, even as a lawyer. So it's very important to understand your position as an agent and you do the right thing, and of course, integrity matters.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Verification is very key.
Yes.
Very key. Okay, so this is to Dr. Freeman. All right, the person actually wrote your name. My questions are for Dr. Freeman. Number one, how can you throw more light to real estate flipping? And then number two, is house rental an investment or a liability? So two questions. Please throw more light on real estate flipping, okay? And is house rental an investment or a liability?
Okay, thank you so very much.
And I'll take the other one after this. So
Okay, property flipping is a way to invest in real estate. However, I'll start by comparing it with real estate speculation. You know, in real estate speculation, you buy land. You leave that land for a period of time. Time will add value to that land, then you come back and sell it off and make profit. But in property flipping, we're talking about short term. It's more short term compared to speculation, and then there is your active involvement. Whereby, so let's say that on this road, on a major road, there's an old building there that is not well maximized. You can approach you can buy and renovate and then sell off quickly. So in speculation, the longer the better. But in flipping, the quicker
the better.
you know, and it's done for business sake. So, but that is different from property development, because in property development, you are buying from the scratch. You are starting from the scratch. You bring all the engineers together. You get the approvals. You break ground, and then you build, and then you sell. But in flipping, you are remodeling. You can buy, say, a 3-bedroom apartment, and then remodel it. You remodel. One of my elder brothers bought a property in Ojodu, you know, 2 apartments, one on the ground floor, one on the first floor. So it's a whole building. But when I got there, I said, this apartment is too big to be one. So he cut it into 2. So 2 down, 2 up, you know, and then you renovate it and push it to the market for a better value. The importance of this as compared to property development is that this is faster. You are coming in as an investor. If you are going to start from the scratch, you are building, inflation is affecting your cost of money and all of that. But with flipping, you go in quick, you make your turnover, and you know how much you have made, and you move to the next project. Now, rent. Is the person the tenant or the landlord? It depends on the side that you are. so let me assume.
Well, I want to believe that the person is a landlord or has the property. I want to believe, or maybe you should look at it from both sides. Okay.
Let me start from the tenants. You know, more than say 85 or 90% of the population in Lagos are renting. You know, it's not bad to rent. It's not bad to rent. You know, while you are renting, you are generating income. And in some cases, where you want to stay, where you are staying right now that you are comfortable renting, you cannot afford to buy there. So start to be a landlord somewhere else. Build something where you can afford. You don't have to stay there. Our parents used to say that, let me quickly finish this project so I can move and go and be staying in my own house. It's not before, it used to work. Now it's not necessary. You know, let it just be an investment so that you build what you can afford. People start to pay you rent. You that you're paying rent now, you're the one sending the landlord's kids to school. So now, you now need to set up that same system whereby the tenant will also be paying you. And right now that there is inflation, landlords are increasing. The house has already been built, Reverend. They built it a long time ago, but they are increasing it, the cost, the price. So, and the tenant is not in charge. So on the side of the tenant, it depends on what you are doing there. I mean, you are sleeping there. It's not a liability anyway, you know, because because where will you rather sleep? It's my where I sleep is part of So I wouldn't want to say where you rent is a liability because that's where you're getting your inspiration from. That's where you are creating the ideas. As an entrepreneur, your assets is where these ideas are coming. It is this idea we turn into money. So that's like a powerhouse. It has to be in a comfortable place that there is no distraction. But investment-wise, the landlord is the one receiving income. The tenant is paying.
Fantastic.
The tenants, you have to also create that system where people are paying money to you, and then you can grow that. Grow it. Let us have targets. Set to yourself, I'll buy one house a year. And one thing I love most about real estate is, I said it there that it's for the rich. When you set this target, it will push you. It will make you grow. It will stretch you. I used to think I had money. When my business started to thrive, until I took on some personal projects. And I can't realize, so I don't get this type of way I think. But it's good because it's a business, so it stretches you. Then because it's stretching you, you have ongoing projects, you will stretch yourself. You will look for new streams of income, and you will create those extra streams, and then meet up with your target. And once you have grown, if you stretch yourself to buy a house or to build a house, once you have stretched, you can't go back to that lower. You can't go back. Then, for most people that start early, I don't know people that built just one house. Your first house is your most difficult house. So once you go through that cycle, then you can do it again and do it again. And if you are using it to generate rental income and plan for the family, it's a very exciting thing to do. Give yourself 5 years and say, these 5 years, I'll buy 2 houses. I tell my friends, buy 2 houses a year. If you can't do 2 houses a year, do one a year. If you cannot do one in a year, do one within 2 years. And do that for 5 to 10 years. So you can have your own asset portfolio of say 5 or 10 houses. And the income from there is where you can now plan and do all of that. That is at that point that you already now become.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So if you have the opportunity to stretch or to stay, choose stretch. All right, let's go to Mr. Martins. He's been waiting. And the question is, does insurance work? Does it even work in this whole space of real estate? Does insurance work? Can insurance help someone to own a home in case of whether there are government issues or whatever it is? Just give us that value, that added value of insurance. Tell us, what role will it play in this spectrum of real estate, owning a home, etc.? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. My voice, normally, I won't actually need a microphone, but for the purpose of this program, I would need a microphone. Thank you for inviting me. Let me start this way, right? On the subject of insurance obviously is to restore you when you face a loss, right? Now, its place in property and real estate management is very, very important, right? The first thing, based on the first question, does insurance work? Insurance actually works a lot, but this is what I'm going to tell you very quickly. Do not just insure with any fly-by-night. Be savvy about the insurance firm you decide to, do business with. It has to be an A-list insurance company in Nigeria. When I mean an A-list insurance company, I want you to look at the top 10, right? And you can easily get that from the National Insurance Commission website, NICON. The ratings are normally, just like bank ratings as well. They change periodically. But there are some known names that you can't go wrong with. I'm not going to advertise for anybody right now. I consult for one of them, so I don't want to be biased. We can talk about that one later, right? I just choose not to mention names. Now, what role does, I've already clarified that it works. When you have a claim to make, they will pay you. But I only beat my chest when we are talking about A-list insurance firms who have an history of good claims settlements. Do not compromise. And also, find out whether your insurance company as reinsurance. Because that's another layer. Because if the insurance company peradventure has a problem, you know they have reinsurance. Now, let me go on to the next question. I believe I've been able to answer the first question. I believe so, right? Fine. I've told you the criteria, so don't come and blame me. I've told you already. That was meant to be a joke. You are allowed to laugh. So, next question. What role does insurance play in property, real estate, business, and everything? Number one, a lot of people do not even know that there are some compulsory insurance in Nigeria, part of which include builder's liability. When you are constructing a building more than 2 floors, you are compelled to insure that building while even constructing, right? But a lot of people don't know. And there are fines. If the government inspects that project and is not insured, they will suspend your construction and they will even fine you for not having that insurance policy on it. That is number one. Number two, for buildings also over 2 floors, you are meant to have your general home insurance, fire insurance at least. Minimum, that is after the building has been completed. It is compulsory for all property above 2 floors. I'm not talking about bungalow, but you can still have home insurance for bungalow. But it is compulsory if your building is above 2 floors, what we call 2-story building in Nigeria. It is in Nigeria that I'm hearing that buildings tell stories, tales by moonlight. Me, I know there is floors everywhere in the world. 2 floors. So, that is the role of insurance. There is fire insurance, there is and other special perils. Special perils include burglary, include malicious damage, includes several other things depending on the clause you negotiate with the insurance company and if they are willing to take up that risk. So it is always very good you consult an investment advisor who will probably even help you negotiate a good insurance deal. And that's part of the things I do with an A-list insurance firm, right? Because most of you will not, a lot of people talk about insurance fine print. I mean, I'm sure you have heard that before. Insurance fine print. There are so many things there where you want to lay claim. You now say, they didn't tell me this, they are not paying me. But meanwhile, you didn't read it. You didn't read it, it was there. You understand? I believe I've answered the 2 questions appropriately.
Yes, you can. In 1 minute, yes, sir.
I would like to add something from experience. What you said is very important. Several years ago, I used to own a construction company. Then I set up with a few friends. And then we were doing a project. We brought in equipment of about $1 million. And we insured the site. I gave the insurance to a friend who was a very close friend, who was supposed to be the broker. And we paid him the premium, and he did not pay the insurance company. Wow. A Christian brother. And then we had fire on site. Wow. And then we wanted a claim, and they said it wasn't paid. So we lost the whole money. So that's why it's also important that, like you said, you are dealing with credible people. That's 1. 2, it's also very important that you deal with a broker that is knowledgeable. Okay, in LSDPC, we use a lot of brokers. But recently, we used a particular broker. And by the time the guy insured one of our sites, the kind of benefits he puts in for us, I'd never seen it before. We just insure and we pay brokers. They share the money. And everybody just, it's party time for them. Once it's time to insure, all the brokers gather and they collect the money and go. But this guy put in some things for us that ensured that the elevators were insured so that if the elevators break down, the insurance will repair it. We had a fire, a surge, and meters were damaged. Insurance replaced the meters. I was like, wow, who is this guy? So it depends on who you are dealing with. Like you said, you just go give it to just anybody. I gave it to a friend, and the guy, I lost a lot of money. So it's not about friendship now. We're talking about capacity and who has the competence. I just wanted to add that to it from experience.
Thank you so much. May I have just 10 seconds because we have loads of questions.
very, very fast. What Pastor said is very, very important, right? I just want to add this layer. You see, the reason why you are involving an experienced investment advisor like I am is because of your interpretation and negotiation of the deal. Because the investment advisor has more experience than you do and will be able to package an appropriate policy. And the most important thing again is this, which would have caused this scenario he was trying to explain, as per the insurance did not even exist. I, as an investment advisor, you don't pass your money through me. You pay directly to the insurance company. All I do is make sure that what I package it for you, and I make sure that all the clauses are there, and I also explain to you the implication of each of the clauses, which I know very well you will not read. Now, liar talk.
All right, thank you so much. We need to, Mr. Lam, give me opportunity because this question requires the spirit of discernment. It requires you to have spirit of discernment. So I will ask Pastor Shigweso to answer this one quickly. There are two, all right, and it's pretty much same. It says, we see a lot of real estate companies spring up and excite people with land sales, but later disappear into things without trace of land after distributing so-called land documents. How can one know the right ones, and what do one do to stem these negative tides? Now, there's another one tying to it. How do we identify the real housing agents and the fakes? Now, as another question you take on that is, can you explain more on land banking? And I believe we have people who want to talk about that quickly.
Okay,
Yes.
so I'll start from land banking. Land banking is you buy land, you keep it for a period of time, years, 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and then you resell after that. Wait for the land to appreciate in value, then you resell, you make your money, and so that's land banking. Now, the reality is that there are several real estate companies who come and say, oh, we sell lands and all that. But for me, what I think people should look out for is the people behind the business, right? The credibility. Some of these guys are maybe young and they don't even have anything to lose, and also what they sell, the products, all right, can be verified. I mean, she said something really powerful. I think if you want to go into land sales, you should talk to her. She knows her audience. So you need to verify the property that you're buying, okay? Like you said, you go to a site, you pick the coordinates. There are sites you go to, you pick coordinates, it's showing somewhere else. That's for another day. But you go to the site, pick the coordinates, and then you ask for the documents to make your search, all right? So you chart the land. And all
This
of
is
that.
before I buy, right?
This is
before
before you buy.
Okay.
Now, there are people that say, you know what, I trust you. You understand? Ideally, you're supposed to inspect a property before you buy to even know that that property exists. That's for starters. All right? So check the property.
It's not virtual land.
It's not virtual land. A land exists. Okay, so you go to the site, pick the coordinates, or you ask for videos, pick the coordinates, chart the land, and then you will see if land is under acquisition or not. And then there are also different types of acquisition. That's for another day. But there are credible companies who you just need to research them, research the owners of the business, do your own due diligence. All these things are out there. They are not rocket science. It's out there. Like you said, you go to lands bureau, you chart a land, the results are there. Once you have your coordinates, they give you the result of that land. So it's not rocket science. You get your lawyer, get your surveyor to verify the land for you, and then you're good. So if you follow those processes, it's hard for you to lose money. It's hard for you to lose money, except village people, I really after you. But if you follow those due process, I think 90% you're covered. You're covered.
In addition,
and let me just, people that say things like, oh, when I buy land, Lagos State government, will come and collect my land. It does not exist. It's just sheer ignorance. There is a plan. Lagos State has a plan. And they have a master plan that shows this and this place has been designated for this and this and this place. This place is for mortuary. This place is for this. This place is for market. This place is for hospital, right? So they have a grant. Lagos State is the most organized state when it comes to real estate. I'm telling you, organized master plan. So, and the master plan is clear. You can access it. Once you have your coordinates, they help you check to verify if the land is under acquisition or not. So you're good to go with that.
Fantastic. In addition, please talk to the people here before they leave. Yes.
I would like to add something.
Yes.
Yeah, I would like to add something. So there's a very important thing about charting that land first. You know, there's a scenario that happened last week. A friend of mine said I should chart a property that is a governor's consent. Okay, now they said this place is governor's. It's just, okay, let me use this stuff for example. And this is the land. And he said I should, he sent me the governor's consent that the person beside her also wants to buy the land. So the person is an agent, and he came to me. So he told me that this place is governor's consent, and he has the title, and this place he doesn't know, he wants to buy. So in his mind, he's thinking that everything will be governor's consent. And then after we chatted it, we found out that this place is a committed land. So, and all of them, they are in the same axis.
What does that mean, committed land?
Okay, so a land that is committed is a land that government have a purpose for it. And then the land beside is an acquisition land. So when we talk about acquisition, a land that there is government-owned land, but they don't have a purpose for it. Government also wants to sell that property. So you can get a title from government that a land that is acquisition land. So now, you know, when you want to buy property, you can't just use one person's governor's consent or title to judge every other thing. So before you even go in to pay, number one, make sure that you are dealing with a trusted person. That, okay, this person, I'm an estate surveyor and valuer by profession. And then I also market properties that have title and properties that we've charted them. And you're sure that even this one doesn't have a title, but at the end of the day, maybe in the next 4 years, they will get a title, but it is free from government acquisition. We have ascertained that this title, this status of this property is free from government acquisition. So make sure with that, when you've done all of this, you are sure that there is nothing coming, no government coming to pick the land and all of that.
Fantastic.
So thank you.
Arila Holmes is around. She's still around very much at the back. Sister Lami,
thank you so much for that clarification.
For the legal team.
Okay.
Questions.
Okay. So this one is to Pastor Sheung. All right. It says, what are the 4 key things to look out for when selecting a location to buy a land for the purpose of holding and selling many years later? Okay. All right. And then the other one here says, to Mr. Oshigbeson, thank you, sir. What are the prime locations with a lot of promise in Ibadan?
In Ibadan, okay. Well, second question depends on the budget, because there are people who want some land that they believe is prime, but they don't want to pay for it, right? So I would say within the range of maybe $1 million to maybe like $3 million, you can get locations like maybe Moniya. We have an estate there. You can get Ayegun. You can get they are different. You can go to our stand to ask more questions about that. And what's the first question again?
The first question says 4 key things to look out for. Just hold on. Just scrolling.
Okay, I think I remember now. The first one is the neighborhood. The neighborhood. So you look at the neighborhood. What are the different neighborhoods surrounding that estate? It may not be something that...
Yeah, the 4 key things to look out for.
You have a lot of developments in that place. You may not have a lot of... There may even be bush around. But you look at the neighborhood because neighborhood drives development. All right? So you look at, for example, maybe they have a train station, they have hospital they have, the road network is good, the infrastructure that the government is planning for, the future. For example, Ekpe Lagos is a very good place. Lekki, Beju Lekki. So you look for those, the neighborhood, all right? So that drives. Then also you look for the development within the estate itself, because that also drives the value, all right? So there are people that just buy his bush, even though with just the bush, you are still good. You understand? Because whether you fence or you don't fence, you still have the value, all right? It keeps growing in value, but development also drives the value of the estate. You look at the layout, you look at the structure of the estate, you look at some of those infrastructure that is being planned for that estate, and all of those things needs to be considered. The other one is that you look at the price. Price is also something that you have to look out for. I always advise people, when you want to buy a property, don't let your focus be price alone, because it's important that even if you are buying cheap, you're buying right. So you don't just say because it's cheap, it's within your budget, so it's a good land. No, you have to consider the pricing option and ensure that that price is a good price, and then you're buying from a credible
source.
real estate company, credible.
Thank you so much.
Frontline Homes.
We will charge you for this free advertisement. All right, this question goes to Mr. Ojo. Now, because I actually asked one of your guys at the back to say, for several years I built up funds in NHF. And how can I leverage that with what you're doing? So there's a question here. How do you source your fund in Federal Mortgage Bank statutorily deducted from your salaries over the years? Mr. Joe, how can you help us deal with this issue? Will Regai be able to help those still in the corporate space who have these concerns, or we should look to another savior? Thank you.
Okay, I will use the opportunity to discuss, to quickly talk about two special products that we have that can help with regards to our relationship or your relationship with the federal government or with the government. Number one has to do with the NHF, that's National Housing Fund. For everyone that works in a place that you have up to 5 staff, the company is required to monthly deduct a percentage of the salary that you are earning, and then they put that money in what we call the NHF fund pool for you. And that pool works like an insurance pool where all of us here, we put our monies together. And when it is time for you to buy and build your own house, we will give you the money. We'll give you your own that you need. And when you finish building your own house, then it will be my own turn also. I will go and pick it. And the program is basically to ensure that every one of us, we all have our homes. And that's what the program is meant for. Now, that particular program is done through the Federal Mortgage Bank using a primary mortgage banks. So when you have an account with a primary mortgage bank, you approach your banker, which is like a guy mortgage bank, that you want to access your fund that is with Federal Mortgage Bank through your NHF. And they've given a cap. Before it was 15 million naira. But now you can access up to 50 million naira, right, out of that fund. Now, it is not really your fund per se. It might be that in that pool, they've deducted just 1,000 naira from your salary each month. And in 6 months, you've only been able to contribute 6,000 naira. But then you need about maybe 30 million naira to buy your own property. You approach your mortgage banker, and then it will be processed. All will be done with your organization, with your company. There is a form to be filled, and then the process is also seamless. Even though to access that fund, because of the bureaucracy and because of the volume of number of people that require that fund immediately, it might take 6 to 1 year to process your fund because it is done in batches. So that is one aspect, which is NHF. That NHF you can access at single digits, which is presently about 6%. Yes, it is that cheap. It's your money. It's our money. And people are still assessing it. And they will keep assessing it. So we are still expecting you also to come in and assess the fund. Number 2 product I'll be talking about is a recent product that was also approved by the federal government. That was in 2022-2023. And that gives you the opportunity to access another fund that you are also contributing. Right. And that fund is the pension that you've been contributing. And that pension, like I said, you can borrow money from your future. Right? That money, they've been putting it together from your salary every month. They call it pension deduction. And that money, you are to have access to that money when you retire. And then they begin to give you as pension monthly. But then some people thought about it. The inflation rate in Nigeria presently is over 30%. Right? And then I'm putting pension aside at a rate that is lower than the inflation rate. That means that that money is depleting per time. And so people thought about it. Why will I wait until 60 to access the money to build myself a house when I can do that at age 30, age 40? So the government gave that window that you can come ahead and take 25% of the money you have contributed. So which means that if the pension that has been taken from you is about 20 million naira, you can come and take 5 million naira from that money to buy yourself a befitting house that you love. And that also can only be assessed through a bank, like Highguy Mortgage Bank. Right? So when you come in, since you already have a relationship, there's a special form that will be given to you, and there are some little requirements that will be expected from you. Just like all the things they've been mentioning here, talking about the title document to be sure that truly that house is genuine, that property is safe from any acquisition or from any trouble. And then with that, we'll forward it to your pension administrator, and it will be processed. Sometimes it comes out even within a month. Sometimes it comes out within even weeks. But the challenge we have, Nigerians the way they are, some want to access that money to do wedding. Some wants to access the money, to just flip around. And so, because the regulators know and the practitioners know that that's what some want to use it for, so the process now becomes so tedious to scale through. But still, we'll still pick out those that are sincere and actually want to use that money to do whatsoever they want to do, talking about asset acquisition.
Fantastic.
So, you are welcome.
Thank you so much. And I know Hega is still here, so we can still talk to you more. Rev, you want to add?
Sorry, I wanted to add something. Now, on the NHF, the current government has, they have this housing scheme they call Renewed Hope. I was in Abuja last month, and one of the things that we're trying to do with the federal government is to build 10,000 housing units for Lagos. So I'm actually working on that, and that partnership will be between LSBC and FMBN. So that means that all those who contribute to NHF can actually buy those houses. There's a portal. So you go on the portal, indicate your interest, and then you'll be allocated the houses.
Is the portal live now, so we can go there now?
Just hold on. We're almost done. We're almost done.
I mean, there's no time to...
It's live, but Lagos is not on it because we're still putting together the package for Lagos.
Fantastic.
I have the different locations on the mainland, on the island. We have identified sites with good titles, some government sites, LSU sites, some private. What I did was to even include private lands that have good title in it so that we can actually have more opportunities. But it's something we're working on. So very soon, I'm sure
we'll follow up
be
with
able
you
to
on
have,
that,
yes, we'll have enough, more than enough houses for people
It's
to
a
be
good
able
place to celebrate and to rejoice because opportunities are being discussed here. Are we gaining a lot in this house? Are we gaining? Is it adding value to us? I can't hear you. Is it adding value? I can't hear. Is it adding value? I don't know. Maybe it's by proximity, but the kind of information I'm getting, maybe it's by proximity. I don't know. So maybe you want to move closer to get first hand. Thank you so much. You wanted to say something, Mr. Martin? Sorry.
Yeah, just a quick one, and it's by way of question, except something different has changed. Does anybody know how much he or she has in NHF as at now? No. And that's the reason I know it was going to be a rhetorical question. This is how it works. Because I've gone through it, so I'm telling you practical. Now, it's based on that question of how do I know how much I can access and blah, blah, blah. See, assuming you have worked in Citibank, you have worked in Access Bank, you have worked in XYZ or whatever place you have gone to, you need to go to Marina. Yeah? Go and get their passbook and a form that you want to get the details of your contribution. Now, it is with that passbook and that form, you go to each of your HR of all the organizations that you have worked for them to update. They have the records, right? But to be very sincere with you, NHF doesn't, at least as at now. So you need, I'm telling you from experience now, I'm not going to lie to you now. Lie no day my face. So go to each organization you have worked for, let them fill the passbook. They'll give you your copy, they'll give you the copy you submit back with NHF that you have collated your contributions. They will now formally update your record. Now so it be.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Sister Lam, before we go to you, so we can clear the air around some of the questions here, I'll come to you quickly, but I have some legal questions. To the legal team, Minister Ebon, are you there? And the other lawyer around. Some people are asking this very simple question, though, very simple. Are there any age restrictions to land buying? And what legal documents do you need to buy a land? I think some of them have been mentioned already. And then there's another one that I will just add to it here. What are the legal, the question is a bit funny. What are the legal implications of property ownership? What are the legal implications of property ownership? Is it legal bragging? Is it legal opportunities? What are those things that, so you can add all of those. Are there age restrictions? Can the child in the womb buy a land, or can I buy in the child's name, etc.? Please tell us from a legal perspective, quickly.
All right, thank you so much for the opportunity. There's no restriction to buying a land. Definitely for you to buy a land, you are a person, whether legal or juristic. You are a person, so a fetus cannot buy land, obviously. You can't buy land in the name of someone that's not existing yet. So, but the day you give back to anyone that have the name and all that, you can always buy, as an investment, then you hold the trust for such person. So it's as simple as that. There's no age restriction. You can buy for your children. You can keep it for their future. What's the second question again?
The legal implications.
Okay, the legal implication of owning a property. It's as good as the legal implication is your own. You have the legal title over the property, and you have right to do with it as you wish. So long as it's, there are two types of title that you get from a property, either equitable title or a legal title. If you have an equitable title, we always tell you to try and perfect it and make it up to a legal title. What it means is that most of all these properties without a C of O, they don't have, that's an equitable title. So we advise you that you upgrade it to a legal title, which means it becomes yours, to sell and do whatever you want to do. You can use it to obtain loan, you can use it, you can sell it, you can do whatever you like with it. That's basically the legal implication. And constitutionally, anybody in Nigeria specifically can own a land anywhere in Nigeria. So it's as simple as that. And thirdly, third question, right? Oh,
well, I think you pretty much answered everything, pretty much. Legal implication, then the type of document.
About type of document.
Yes.
Now, type of document varies. Sometimes people talk about C of O, People talk about governor's consent. Each of them have, different areas where they work, and there are some that are contract of sales agreement and all like that. We can't go into in depth of all this now, but the basic ones that you need to know. Number one, you are supposed to have a survey plan, which defines the area of the space you are buying. There's supposed to be a deed of assignment, which is what transfers title on the property to you. And then any other thing after those two are what we call post, acquisition, which are C of O. If you have C of O already, then you get governor's consent over the property, and so on and so forth. There are lots. There is R of O, there is the power of attorney, there's power of attorney, and so on and so forth. There are a lot of it. But the basic one that you can know, that I can tell you, people talk about what's this thing called? Excision, gazette,
Yes.
and all that. Those ones are basically applicable in few areas, like Lagos State, basically. You go to Ekiti, I don't know if they have anything like that, or Osun State. Mostly they don't have all those things. What you have is acquisition and something you can ratify. But in Lagos State, they must excise, then put it in the gazette, which are not documents that you own personally. They are documents that are with the government that you can go and then search and so on and so forth. But basic one that you need are your deed of assignment, your survey plan, CFO, and so on. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you
Okay.
so much. We're wrapping up any moment from now. Thank you.
Yes. So this, I would say this last one because our time is up, but this is for Dr. Haeva. I've spotted him. I think he's
Okay,
around.
he's
Yes,
around,
Pastor
yes.
Emmanuel, this is for you, sir. Okay, he says here that what is the better way to get out of debt? Start with the largest or the snowball method as recommended by Gordon Ramsay. So what's the best way to come out of debt? Do you start with the largest one or you pick the smaller ones?
Okay, the first way to get out of debt is stop borrowing. That's step one. Because what we find that people in debt keep borrowing more. Sometimes they borrow to repay. So step one, stop borrowing. Okay, you freeze your debt and say, this is where I am. Some of those methods mentioned, I don't know them, but what we recommend is start with the costliest one first. Okay, because debt comes at different rates, So start paying off the most expensive one, even if it's the biggest, smallest, but you can keep cutting it down. So, because the most expensive one is the one hurting you most, So start paying from the most expensive, until you pay down all the debts. If there is a large source of place, we mentioned you can sell an asset to cut the debt, but when you really want to get out of debt and you are committed to it, you just have to push all you can in there. But the guidance is pay the most expensive ones first until you pay everything down, and make sure you stop borrowing and creating new debt.
Okay, and somebody wants to know if it's possible for us to get the slide you used for your
There's a
presentation.
version, the one I showed you is a certified version. We can't share it. But there's a
Complain. So Frontline will normally have to buy the land before they can build it and sell. So, but because of joint venture, you now have a business arrangement with them. You put your land forward, they bring the money to build it. And then let's say the value of that built property is 100 naira now. The value of your land.
No,
might be
please
30.
use million. Use million.
Okay, let's say the value of the built property is 100 million. Let's say the value of your land is 30 million. So that's almost like a one-third, So when they spend money to develop that land, they will take the equivalent amount of what they have invested. So they might take, if we divide that property into 3, they that spent money to develop it might take 2. You that you brought the land, you might take 1. And without spending extra penny, you have contributed your land in that transaction, and now you have homes. Now, in Lekki, I know a property, I have friends that stay there. I know a property, they have, the apartments in that property are more than 100. The terrace duplexes are more than 40. So, this same thing is what happened. The woman gave the land
to a property developer. They develop the whole of that property. And then at the end of it all, they now shared it. So she has so many units. She gave us some units to her grandchildren, to her children. Then she sold some units. So I hope I've answered that question.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, Pastor Shigwesom, your question, can you still remember?
Yeah. So the process. Yeah. So the process is very,
how long
very,
does it take to acquire property?
It's very
Yes.
short with frontline homes. You can start and complete that process in a month. I've shared that process with brother Joshua.
Okay.
So I have sent the process to you so they can email it to everyone. Or you can also go to the stand to meet our team because of time. Okay, so you can meet our team at the back. They can run you through that process. But in 1 month or 3 weeks, you're done. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Rev, Lagos, Itiwani. Okay, so how do we go about it?
Okay, thank you. As an aside, she spoke about acquisition of land, and she talked about land being gazetted. Yes, gazetted land. Please let me caution. Don't buy any land that they tell you they are still processing excision. Because the government is not signing excision for anybody. So if you buy from any Omonile, they tell you we are processing our excision. It's in Alausa. Your money has entered voicemail. So
it's like
so
Ram land.
That's by the, So that's it. So for JVs, of course, that's what we do in LSCPC also. We can also help facilitate that for you and help you to develop your land in a good location, provided you have good title. Very important. Now, for LSCPC, like I said, LSCPC is a public company that belongs to all of us. You can always approach us. I'm approachable. My PA is not here, but my numbers, I'm everywhere. I give my numbers to people. Just send me a message. Just that, really, because if you keep calling, I'm always in one meeting or the other. So, but I usually give my PA's number. So it's easier to reach out to him. Send him a message, you'll reply. Or send me a message, or usually I'll refer it to him, and he will reply you. Come to LSCPC. Our office at Ilupeju here, Town Planning Way. The first building on Town Planning Way is LSCPC. Once you drive into town, opposite GTB, you can walk in at any time, walk into our marketing department. And like I said, identify the scheme you want, they will give you, or go to our website. You'll see all the schemes on our website. It's lscpc.gov.ng. That's all. lscpc.gov.ng. You can go there, you will see the schemes we have. You can always call, there are numbers there. Call them or walk in, make an inquiry. If you see a property you like, they'll tell you the steps to take. And then is either you pay cash or you pay a payment plan. You tell them this is how long I want to pay. And then you begin to make your payments, basically. We already also have new schemes that are coming up. And these are some of the JV schemes we have. Those are the third party. For instance, we have a scheme coming up in Badagry now. There's a land that, that's been given to us, that has good title, belongs to the police cooperative. It has good title. So we've helped them to put it together. We'll do the infrastructure, site and service. We'll lay it out, and then we'll sell it plot by plot so that it's affordable for people rather than if they want to build it and people cannot afford it. So we have schemes that are coming up that is easy for us to use our brand equity to help to structure the transaction and make it affordable and available for people. So it's not just whatever government is building, even the ones that private sector who we know have credibility and capacity. We're trying to also help build up the private sector developers. There are some who didn't have so much capacity, but when they partner with us, now they have become big boys. Now they are also rubbing shoulders with us. But we don't mind. We want to build capacity. There's so much to build. We're over 20 million deficit. We have so much to do. So for us, I want to move from developing small estates, like I said, into regeneration, into really building cities. That's what I want to start doing. I don't want to be doing the small units. But we can help the developers, and that's why we're doing the PPP where we're doing, such that if you bring land, I can call on Shehu here to say, Shehu, I have this, come and do it, go and do this. And then, I can call on doctor. So those are the kind of things we want to do. I don't want to tie myself down to such projects that I think are small projects. I can face the big ones, and then they can take on those ones. So it's about leveraging relationship and networking, which is one thing we have not learned to do in this part of the world. We have not maximized it at all. And in the church, we must do that. That's one thing we're not doing in the church. We must leverage relationships and build capacity and for everybody to prosper. Thank you.
Sir, when you are handling the big ones, call me for the small ones. He already has what he's dealing with. He should face front, and me, I will face the small one. Front line should face front. Whilst I handle the, that's the way we run it. That's the way we run it. Thank you, sir. You can celebrate me for handling the small ones. All right. Let's move forward. Over to you, Mr. Martins.
And also, I should remind you, when you are calling Pastor Sheung, call me for insurance also. We have to do this synergy properly now. I know call Lagos, come Bridge now.
Building on relationships, yes. Collaboration.
Yes. Okay, so my question is, what are the benefits of digital property platforms over physical platforms? Now, we can look at it from two different angles. Is it on the side of the platform owners or on the side of the users, right? But the basic thing is this. Let me just do a synopsis on both sides. Anything called digital gives you the advantage of easy scalability, that is one, a wider reach, the ability to streamline your demography. Because it's not as if when you're talking about property, your target audience is different. It's not just everybody come inside. That is the truth. You can streamline your demography and all that stuff. Now, for the users, it's also pretty good. You have a wider reach of different types of property because there are categories. You can easily do a search and all that stuff. And in the market for digital platforms, you already have some pretty known names. I don't know whether I should mention them. There are The Castle. They have a digital platform. There is Nigerian Prop. Okay, no. I'm not working for any of them. I'm just, but at least, I don't know them. I don't work for them, right? So there are credible names that you can easily, use who have been in the market, for some time. In fact, on a good day, go to ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT what are the top 5 or top 10 online property or digital platforms that we have in Nigeria. It will show you. The world has gone AI now. Fantastic. I hope I've answered the question. But before I go, let me quickly say this as a passing note.
I'm not even leaving yet, so.
Yeah. Okay. Let me say this as a passing note. Does anybody know that the investment advisor that helps you negotiate your deal with an insurance company is not paid by you? The guy is doing his work for totally free. Please keep that in mind. Fantastic. You have nothing to lose.
Sorry, on the prop tech, Doctor, I think you and I need to speak. We need to talk because I know that for the first-time homeowners, especially the younger ones, the Gen Zs, the federal government has a lot of properties in Lagos that are lying dormant. All those abandoned federal government properties. So I actually made a proposition to them. And so they're looking at us retrofitting them to do rental, small one beds and all that. So and I know prop tech is the way to go so that people can actually, we can, pull the funds together. And so I think we need to look at that and see how that can be done. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Rev. I'm back. Thank you so much. Please, may I ask us to please stand and give them a round of applause, please. If you think that they've impacted you today.